The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the cobblestones. A sea of faces, expectant and filled with faith, stretched towards the basilica. Silence descended, heavy and anticipatory. This was no ordinary Angelus address. Today, Cardinal Tagle, the beloved Archbishop Emeritus of Manila, was to speak. The air thrummed with unspoken questions, a palpable tension gripping the heart of the Vatican. Cardinal Tagle, known for his warm smile and compassionate heart, stepped forward. His gaze swept over the crowd, a flicker of something profound in his eyes. Gone was the usual jovial demeanor, replaced by a solemnity that sent a shiver through the assembled faithful. In that moment, the world held its breath, sensing the weight of the words about to be spoken. This was not just a message from one man to many, but a whisper from the soul of the Church itself. Luis Antonio Tagle, the smiling cardinal from Asia, was more than just a high-ranking figure in the Catholic Church. He was a beacon of hope and a symbol of the Church's evolving face in the modern world. His infectious smile and approachable demeanor made him a beloved figure not just among Catholics, but among people of all faiths and backgrounds. He was a close confidant of Pope Francis, a relationship that went beyond the formalities of their titles. Their connection was deeply personal, rooted in a shared mission to bring the Church closer to the people. They were brothers in faith and spirit, united by a vision of a more inclusive and compassionate Church. Their bond was not just a matter of convenience, but a testament to their mutual respect and admiration. Their bond, forged in mutual respect and a shared vision for a more compassionate Church, was evident to all. It was a relationship that inspired many within the Church and beyond, showing that leadership could be both humble and powerful. They spoke the same language, a language of humility and radical love, a language that resonated deeply within the modern world. Their words and actions were a call to action for a Church that needed to reconnect with its roots and its people. Tagle, a man of the people, had always championed the marginalized and the poor. His work in the slums and with the disenfranchised was not just a duty, but a calling, a reflection of his deep empathy and commitment to social justice. His appointment to the Vatican by Pope Francis was seen as a clear sign. The peripheries were now the center, their voices amplified on the world stage. It was a bold move that signaled a shift in the Church's priorities, placing the needs of the most vulnerable at the forefront. Their shared vision, a Church that walked with the poor, comforted the afflicted, and challenged the powerful, had begun to take root. This vision was not just a lofty ideal, but a practical approach to ministry that sought to make a real difference in the lives of ordinary people. But on this day, the familiar narrative was about to shift, revealing a truth more profound, more challenging, and ultimately more transformative. The journey of these two remarkable leaders was far from over, and their impact on the Church and the world was only just beginning. The silence in St. Peter's Square was shattered as Cardinal Tagle began to speak. His voice, usually strong and resonant, trembled slightly, betraying the gravity of his message. He spoke of his deep admiration for Pope Francis, of their shared journey, of the challenges they had faced together. Then he paused, his next words hanging heavy in the air. "The Holy Father," he announced, his voice catching, "has entrusted me with a truth that has weighed heavily on his heart." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. What could this truth be? What secret burden did the Pope carry? Speculation ran rampant, whispers darting like fireflies in the gathering dusk. The world watched, captivated, as Cardinal Tagle, the messenger of truth, prepared to unveil a secret that would shake the very foundations of the Catholic Church. In the days leading up to the Angelus, a palpable tension had gripped Cardinal Tagle. He understood the gravity of the task entrusted to him, the weight of the words he was to speak. Sleep had eluded him, his mind a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. He had spent hours in prayer, seeking guidance, strength, and courage. The revelations he knew would be met with resistance, even anger. He understood the human need for certainty, for the comfort of the familiar. But he also knew that true faith required courage, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, to embrace change even when it was painful. He prayed for the Church, for its leaders, and for the millions of faithful around the world, praying that they would find it within themselves to listen with open hearts and minds. Cardinal Tagle's revelation, delivered with a heavy heart but unwavering conviction, sent shockwaves through the Catholic world. He spoke of a long-hidden truth, a truth that challenged long-held beliefs and traditions. He spoke of a need for radical change, for a return to the core message of Jesus Christ, love, compassion, and forgiveness. He spoke of the Church's need to confront its past mistakes, to acknowledge its failings, and to seek forgiveness. He spoke of a future where the Church was no longer an institution of power and privilege, but a humble servant of the people, a beacon of hope in a world often shrouded in darkness. He spoke of a Church that embraced dialogue, welcomed diversity, and championed the rights of the marginalized and the oppressed. The initial shock gave way to a maelstrom of emotions. In churches and cathedrals, in homes and parish halls, the faithful grappled with the revelations. Whispers filled the pews, tears flowed freely in quiet chapels. Some felt betrayed, their faith shaken to its core. Others felt a surge of hope, a sense of liberation. The revelations sparked intense debates, challenging long-held assumptions and forcing a reassessment of deeply ingrained beliefs. Families argued over dinner tables, theologians debated in hallowed halls, and ordinary Catholics wrestled with their consciences. The Church, once a monolith, now seemed a kaleidoscope of diverse voices, united in their faith, but divided in their interpretations. The journey ahead was uncertain, fraught with challenges and potential pitfalls, yet there was a palpable sense of hope, a belief that the Church, having confronted its demons, could emerge stronger, more vibrant, and more relevant to the modern world. The revelations, though painful, had opened a door, a path towards healing and reconciliation. The Church began the arduous task of internal reform, guided by the principles of transparency, accountability, and compassion. Structures of power were re-examined, outdated doctrines revisited. Dialogue became the new norm, replacing centuries of top-down pronouncements. The Church, once seen as an institution apart from the world, was now actively engaging with it, seeking to be a force for good in a world desperately in need of healing. The bond between Pope Francis and Cardinal Tagle, tested by fire, emerged stronger than ever. Their friendship, forged in the crucible of shared trials and tribulations, became a beacon of hope for many. It was a testament to the power of unity and the strength that comes from standing together in the face of adversity. Their shared vision, once a whisper in the corridors of the Vatican, was now a clarion call for change, resonating throughout the global Church. This vision was not just about reforming structures, but about rekindling the spirit of the Church, making it more inclusive, compassionate, and attuned to the needs of the modern world. Their courage in confronting the past, their unwavering commitment to truth and justice, had set in motion a process of transformation, the full impact of which would be felt for generations to come. They faced numerous challenges, from internal resistance to external criticism, but their resolve never wavered. They knew that true change required not just words, but actions that spoke louder. Their legacy would be one of honesty and humility, of courage and compassion. They embodied the very principles they preached, living lives of simplicity and service. Their actions inspired countless others to follow in their footsteps, to embrace a life dedicated to the greater good. They would be remembered as the shepherds who, faced with a flock in turmoil, chose the path of truth even when it was difficult, even when it hurt. Their decisions were not always popular, but they were always guided by a deep sense of moral responsibility and a commitment to the well-being of their flock. They would be remembered as the reformers who dared to challenge the status quo, to dismantle the structures of power, and to return the Church to its roots as a humble servant of the poor and marginalized. Their work was a reminder that true leadership is not about wielding power, but about serving others with love and humility. Their legacy would continue to inspire future generations to strive for a more just and compassionate world. The path laden with challenges, requiring unwavering dedication and a deep sense of purpose. The faithful knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but they were prepared to face it with courage and conviction. There would be setbacks, resistance, and moments of doubt. The Church had to confront its past, acknowledge its mistakes, and seek forgiveness. This process of introspection and reconciliation was painful, but essential for true healing and renewal. But the spirit of renewal, ignited by Pope Francis and carried forward by leaders like Cardinal Tagle, had taken root. Their vision of a church that was inclusive, compassionate, and just resonated deeply with the faithful. They inspired hope and a sense of purpose, encouraging everyone to work towards a common goal. A new generation of Catholics, inspired by the example of their leaders, was rising to the challenge, embracing the call to be a church of and for the poor. They were committed to living out the teachings of Christ in their daily lives, showing love and compassion to all, especially the marginalized and the oppressed. A church that stood in solidarity with the marginalized and the oppressed. These young Catholics were not just passive observers, they were active participants in the mission of the Church, working tirelessly to bring about positive change in their communities. The future of the Church, though uncertain, was filled with hope. This hope was not just a fleeting emotion, but a steadfast belief in the possibility of a better world. It was a hope that was nurtured by the faith and actions of its people, a hope rooted in the unwavering faith of its people, in their willingness to confront the past and in their determination to build a future that was more just and compassionate. This hope was a beacon of light, guiding them through the darkest times, and in their commitment to building a better future for all. The Church's mission was not limited to its own members, but extended to all of humanity. It was a mission of love, service, and solidarity, reaching out to those in need, regardless of their background or beliefs. The revelations, though initially shocking, had ultimately proved to be a catalyst for growth. They had sparked a movement towards greater transparency, accountability, and justice within the Church. This movement was driven by a deep desire to live out the true teachings of Christ. A painful but necessary step on the long and winding road towards a more just, compassionate, and truly Christian world. The journey was far from over, but with faith, hope, and love as their guiding principles, the Church and its people were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Please subscribe to our channel History Documentary Hub for more insightful videos and intriguing content.